I mean, I personally know people who have done it, so I could ask them like about it and stuff. Which I learned two really interesting things from the people I know, which is if when you do heroin for the first time. Wait, Miss Martha.
Yeah.
No. Alright, so if you ever
not.
like love anything that's like not alive, so like me, like I love like pizza. So like that's what I thought, right? But that's not true. When you do heroin for the first time, it releases the same amount of endorphins as if you make love to somebody for the first time, right? So like you literally, like you will miss it and you'll respect it more than somebody else. Like you'll respect the drug because of like how it messes with your brain. So that's one thing I learned. And then the second thing is 75% of overdoses are from people who usually snort heroin, will inject it into their veins for the first time, but they'll use the same amount. So it's kind of like if you like drink a soda, you get like a caffeine rush, right? But imagine like you injected soda into your veins, like it'd be really, really bad for you. Anyway, all right, this is the history of heroin, and I wrote all of it down, but I'm not going to show you because I don't want to spoil it. So, the history of heroin is like super cool and interesting. So it starts in early to mid like 1800s, right? And there were. Okay, now I need to draw it. Don't move because I don't know.
Lift it.
Because that's not what we're gonna do.
Why can't you lift it?
Dylan, you can erase that.
Then the 18 works out, right?
Do you really need me up there?
Yes.
I want to work the projector.
Yeah. Alright, this is what we need to remember throughout what I'll be telling everybody is AOMH, or AOMHA. And it will be over here too, and the easiest way to remember AOMHA is all ovaries make humans. So that's how you will remember this. Shut up. So we start, this is descending order, or chronological order, right? So starting here in the beginning to the mid 1800s, America is still like frontiering the Wild West, right? But we have alcohol, and everybody loves alcohol. So there's a bunch of alcoholics, so that's what it stands for. Is alcoholism. So that's the first problem we have, and everybody's addicted to alcohol, and they're frontiering the Wild West, right? But around the same time, opium is introduced to the United States as a very powerful drug. But the people who are on alcohol, there's way more of them, so everybody is focusing on this while people are still doing this. We don't even think of how addictive this is whenever it's introduced, so we start to use it to cure alcoholism. But opium, it's just like heroin, and it will kill you, and it's really addictive, and it's terrible for you. So what they do is everybody's trying to cure this while not focusing that this is the real problem. So now we're in mid-1800s, the Civil War breaks out, and they have made a derivative of opium called morphine. And it's named after Morpheus, and it was named by a German scientist. He made morphine. But this is morphine. And it's just a derivative of opium that's really, really bad for you. It's like probably like half as bad for you as heroin, but still really, really bad. So the Civil War breaks out, and everybody's either getting killed or really, really injured. And the way they treat them is with morphine. So if you lived throughout the Civil War and you got injured, you're now addicted to morphine, or you died. Those are your two options. Or you just did nothing. So we have a morphine problem, and so now we're in late 1800s, and we're like, oh my god, 1878 is when this happens. We're like, oh my god, what do we do? We're all addicted to morphine after getting addicted to opium, after getting addicted to alcohol. So what we've done is we're addicted to alcohol, fixed it with opium, and then people got addicted. So 1878, Germany, the people who made morphine, call us up and they're like, dude, we have something awesome, and it's heroin. We can fix your morphine problem with something that's safe and non-addictive, which is heroin.
No, the heroin you're talking about doesn't have it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Heroin extra E is.
so this is what they make, right? This is the difference between morphine and heroin. This is why this is called diacetylmorphine, because it's just a small change from heroin to morphine. This is twice as strong and more addictive than morphine. And we use it to cure our morphine addiction, but now we're just addicted to heroin. So it's like if you take somebody with an eating problem, right? Like they really like eating and they just can't stop, but then you get them addicted to heroin. And yeah, they don't eat as much anymore, but they're addicted to heroin. So so now we're in the early 1900s, and finally, since the beginning of 1800, whenever opium first came around, 1920 is when we first passed a Drug Safety Act in 1920, where we say this is not okay anymore. We can't do it. Morphine's still okay, but heroin and stuff like that, not okay. So we can't do that. And so then by the time at 1925, we already have 200,000 heroin addicts, but they can't do anything about it now because if they use morphine, they'll just get addicted to morphine, and that won't work. So, where's the paper? No.
You need me to do this?
Yes. All right. So people thought that heroin just came around in the 1960s, but obviously now you all know what you're talking about, and you know that it didn't. So these are the reasons people think they come around in the 1960s. Around that time, these companies start producing pills, like painkillers. They're just derivatives of opium, like heroin, but they're not as strong, right? This one is, but these aren't. But OxyContin, they use OxyContin as a painkiller, just like they did morphine. But they present it in their commercials, these two companies, as like, this will help you, there's this grandmother in a commercial, right? And she's playing with her grandchildren. And she's like, I can finally play with my grandchildren now because I don't have to worry about my back problems, my legs, all this pain that I've been dealing with, right? They're like, thank you so much, OxyContin. And they have 11 different commercials like that, but with different actors, right? Or they're not actors, they're real people that use OxyContin. 15 years later, we're now in the early 2000s, 2007, around there. Those people have lost their health insurance to pay for this stuff. So they now have sold houses, cars, anything to be able to get more drugs, but they can't afford it anymore. The grandmother that loved playing with her children, right? If she were to have stayed on OxyContin, she would, and if her health insurance still worked, she would be dead, and she would have been addicted to OxyContin and just kept using it and died because it's terrible for you. So 2007, same thing with syphilis. So 2007 rolls around. $634 million lawsuit on these people for running fake ads that say this is a curing drug. $444 million lawsuit on these people by the federal government, people who had their lives destroyed by these people. And the only thing they can do after they've had these pills is go to heroin, because it's cheaper and you don't have to have a prescription for it because you can just get it from a drug dealer. But these people, like, these are nothing compared to this company. This company's... So, these people would sell pills like Oxycontin, but they are 100 times stronger than heroin. But they could only use it for cancer patients. But they were like, okay, if we can only use this drug for cancer patients, we're not going to have enough people to keep this company alive. So whenever people would call them, this company's now thankfully out of business, when people would call them, they'd be like, the health insurance would only pay for it if the person was a cancer patient, right? So the health insurance would call these people, and they'd be like, hey, do these people have cancer? And INSIS would say, uh-huh. So they couldn't get sued for saying yes, because they said uh-huh. Less than 10% of their patients had cancer. Less than 10%, because they would say uh-huh instead of yes. Because that's legal, that they can do that. So they were just murdering people because of how they were doing this. This is so stupid. This also happened to Prince. This is how Prince died, because he took one of these pills and he died. So now, we're in 2017, and this paper is from 2 days ago, right? And the front headline is Senate makes trafficking heroin a Class C felony, because these are from 2 days ago, all the people who were arrested with drug charges. And this is just like happening like daily. Like people's lives are getting destroyed because they were addicted to heroin, and 75% of them start on these two companies. Not this one. So this is all really sad and depressing that so many people are getting destroyed by these companies for no reason and stuff. But we're going to end it on a high note.
Stop. God.
Kit Carson was a drug addict. The one this school was named after. So this goes all the way back to 1800s when he was exploring the Wild West. There were saloons, and then there were opium dens that instead of him drinking, he would be on opium, and it would just... you'd spend nights and weeks there just with opium, high out of your mind, and with like prostitutes and stuff. So that's who Kit Carson was. So that's what the elementary school's named after. Yeehaw. Any questions?
Holy shit.
Yeah, you have a very unorthodox way of presenting it, but you had, I mean, I was caught up in